Welcome, adventurers. Sit yourselves down by the crackling hearth fire and listen as we delve deep, deep down under the crust of Toril to a realm where the sun doesn't dare to dream of and whose denizens have turned twisted and cruel. The Underdark. A mean place where survival is not a privilege. It's a right that must be earned. Clashes between its inhabitants are all but inevitable, and there are two factions who prove more formidable than most. The Drow and the Illithid. Selzar, are you there? The Drow Mage called out for his expedition leader. The team had been surveying what appeared to be ancient mining tunnels on the borders of the territory when a sudden cave-in caused them to be separated. The mage slowly advances around a curve in the craggy tunnel to where they thought they heard sounds of movement, hoping to find a member of their party. They still take out a patch of cured leather and magically affix it to their chest, just in case. Instantly, they feel the strange, almost oily sensation of their mage armor spread outwards and cover their entire body. The quiet sounds of the tunnel become lightly filtered as the armor reaches their ears. Feeling slightly more confident now, they brashly turn the corner into a more cavernous intersection of several mineshafts. The source of the noise becomes immediately apparent. A tall, lank figure, covered in stiff, dark, wine-colored robes, hunched over the corpse of Selzar. Strange, tentacled protrusions that stretch from its elongated purple head are attached to the top of Selzar's skull. The creature appeared to be sucking. They know what this creature is. Illithid. The mage barely stifles a retch before feeling an alien mind intruding on theirs. The Illithid projects the words, "Spiders of Lolth become trapped in my web. How very delicious. And I have not yet had my fill." Before detaching its tentacles and tossing Selzar's corpse aside. The mage grits their teeth and steps forward to wreak vengeance on this vile monstrosity. The fight is on, but who will win? Let's start with the Drow Mage. They have a pretty wimpy AC of 12, but I think it's fair to assume that even given the slightest hint of danger, any mage would almost reflexively cast mage armor on themselves, so we can boost this to 15. Again, this mage shows its relative squishiness with a max HP of 45. They're gonna need some tricks up their voluminous mage sleeves, or end the fight quick to survive. Looking at their stats, high intelligence and a decent dexterity, so their spells are gonna hit hard, and they may get to act sooner than their opponent, which could be crucial for ending the fight before they take too many hits. Their wisdom and charisma are nothing special, so they could be in trouble making saving throws for certain spells or abilities headed their way. They have a +5 to stealth, so if things got too hairy, they could potentially get a breather by hiding. Conversely, they have a +4 to perception for spotting enemies. A huge boon to Drow Mages is the Fey Ancestry trait. They have advantage on being charmed and they can't be put to sleep, so there's a low chance of them losing precious action economy to these conditions. Alright, it's Mind Flayer time. Mind Flayers wear breastplate armor, so it does have some decent protection with an AC of 15. It has a very decent chunk of hit points at 75 too, so it won't be in too much of a rush to feast upon the delicious grey matter of its opponent, and instead it would probably wait for the right moment to strike. Intelligence, wisdom, and charisma are massive for this creature, 19, 17, and 17 respectively, giving it a seriously good defense against a whole host of spells that could force one of these saving throws. It also has a very versatile skill list, but we're focusing on a straight up fight here, so we're only going to look at the ones that could potentially be used in this combat scenario. A +6 to perception will give it a huge advantage on spotting, hiding, or hearing invisible enemies, as well as a +4 to stealth, just in case it needs to creep up on or flee from its opponent. On top of its fantastic intelligence, wisdom, and charisma saving throw bonuses, it also has the magic resistance trait, giving it advantage on saving throws against spells. This is absolutely huge, and it's going to be frustratingly difficult to hit this creature with any spells. Even if a stray status is inflicted, it will have advantage on saving throws at the end of its turn. Okay, sure, so this Mind Flayer is going to be tough for a spellcaster to handle, but what can it actually do? Well, quite a powerful combo, if the dice are in its favor. It can hit something with its tentacles, immediately grappling any medium and smaller enemies, and it forces an intelligence saving throw to stun the target. Once that target is grappled and stunned, well, that's when the real fun begins. For the Mind Flayer, anyway. It can then attempt to extract its stunned captive's brain with advantage. Remember, attacks have advantage on stunned enemies. It does insane damage, 55 piercing on average, and if it reduces the target's HP to 0, well, that's it. They are dead. No death saving throws, no chance to spare the dying or rush in with a healing potion or cure wounds. The brain is extracted, and the Mind Flayer gets to nourish itself on the psychical and emotional energy of its prey. Both attacks have a +7 to hit, so it's going to have to roll pretty poorly for it to miss. Its final attack is the Mind Blast. It's got a recharge of 5 or 6, so it may not be able to cast it every turn, but it's got an impressive range in the form of a 60-foot cone. It deals decent damage, and again it forces an intelligence saving throw or the target is stunned. With this, the Mind Flayer can attack at a distance and rush in for the brain extraction, if the saving throw has failed. So who would win? It would certainly be an interesting fight, and these two enemies would be more than aware of each other's abilities, and I think the Drow Mage in particular would understand that if it got hit with that stun extract brain combo, then it would be finished. The extract brain alone is more than enough to deplete all of its hit points. It would be an intricate dance, both enemies starting the fight at range, the Drow not wanting to come into contact with those deadly tentacles, and the Illithid trying to hit the Drow with a successful Mind Blast before rushing in to melee. The Drow would absolutely spend the whole fight trying to remain out of range of the Mind Flayer. It has a good chance to shrug off the effects of its Mind Blast with a +3 to their intelligence saving throws, and the Mind Flayer would then have to attempt to recharge it every turn. However, it would only be a matter of time before the Illithid grew impatient and attempted to move in to get the stun with their tentacles. However, the Drow have tentacles of their own. Evard's black tentacles, to be precise, and though the Mind Flayer would have advantage on saving throws against spells, if it manages to succeed, this would be a huge hindrance for its brain extraction, preventing it from getting close. It also does decent damage, and that would help the Drow close the huge gap in hit points. Overall, however, I think that the Illithid could tank some damage and put up with some hiccups in its strategy before ultimately pulling off the stun and subsequent brain extraction. The Drow's best chance at survival isn't to win, but to flee. Luckily, they have a wealth of movement and control spells to help them to do so. Evard's Black Tentacles is one, sure. With the Illithid restrained, the Drow could beat a hasty retreat. It could perform the same maneuver with a web spell. Even if they both miss, the ground between them is still difficult terrain, giving them a few more precious moments to escape. They also have a use of Misty Step and the Fly spell, which would let them zip away from the fray. Unless they are very, very unlucky early in the fight, the Drow would almost certainly be able to escape in most circumstances. So there you have it. The Illithid would most likely slurp the Drow's brains unless it managed to flee. And that's it. That's the end of the story. Or is it? Maybe there is a way for the Drow to win. Perhaps there is a most deadly combination that, under the right circumstances, would yeet and delete the Illithid, even with its chunky HP and deadly attacks. You see, Drow Mages have the very useful and powerful ability to summon demons. They have a choice between a guaranteed Quasit summon or a 50% chance Shadow Demon summon. I don't really see why they would ever summon a Quasit while fighting a Mind Flayer, wasting the action for this instead of, well, either trying to flee or maybe trying to end the fight. So let's just focus on the Shadow Demon. If things got desperate enough, their means of escape blocked or ineffective, and they are backed into a corner by the salivating sucker of sentience, they would absolutely try to summon that demon. I would. Shadow demons are not to be sniffed at. It would certainly be enough to threaten the Mind Flayer, and it would add precious action economy to the Drow's efforts. Combine the damage output of the demon with the caustic 5d8 poison damage of Cloud Kill, and the Drow just might be able to take an Illithid head home as a trophy, and as revenge for their fallen comrades. I think overall, I'm gonna have to give this one to the Mind Flayer. I really feel that in most situations, it would probably win. Either by chowing down on some Drow grey matter, or by causing them to flee, securing the territory for themselves. Thank you so much for watching all the way to the end. And please remember, this scenario is based entirely upon my opinion and what I reckon. I want to hear what you reckon. Please comment down below how you think this fight would have went. I'm sure there's plenty about these monsters that I overlooked. Also, which monsters would you like to see go head to head in the next monster versus monster battle? Comment that down below too. Please like, subscribe, hit the bell to be notified, and remember, this world needs good monster battles. It does. It's tough times.